Graham Morris.
Thank you very much, Mr Deputy Speaker, and I do want to congratulate the Honourable Member for Birmingham Northfield and indeed the Honourable Member for Barrow-in-Furness on two excellent and most entertaining maiden speeches, and I'm sure we'll hear a lot more of them during the course of this Parliament. I am very pleased to be able to speak in this debate, Mr Deputy Speaker. I was following very closely the Secretary of State's words, and I think one of the key issues that we need to resolve, whichever side of the chamber we sit upon, is the growing economic divide between the North and the South, a divide that's actually widening. And I want to refer quite extensively to a new report, the State of the Coalfields 2019 report, that was published by Sheffield Hallam University and details the case, not just identifying problems, but identifying solutions. In the UK, power and finance is concentrated in the centre, in the near-exclusive control of Whitehall and Westminster. This has led to decades of underinvestment in the North East and former industrial communities like mine. I believe, Mr Deputy Speaker, our economy as a whole and our country as a whole won't succeed post-Brexit if we remain exclusively on the success of London and the South East. So today, I want to focus on the green industrial revolution and the economic benefits it could bring to constituencies like mine, Easington in County Durham. I'm very proud of Labour's manifesto, and I thought that our own front bench, the Honourable Member for Eccleston Salford, made a terrific contribution at the start of the debate in outlining the advantages of Labour's green industrial revolution. The North East was, within my lifetime, one of the engines of economic success. It powered the industrial revolution and has a long and proud history in shipbuilding, in coal mining and in engineering. In my own village, the village where I live, in Merton, the colliery there was the mainstay of the village and provided employment and coal for the nation's furnaces from 1834 until it stopped production in November 1991, employed my father, uncles, cousins and grandfather in their working lives. Now Labour had planned to make the North East a centre for the next industrial revolution, the green industrial revolution. And indeed, Labour's manifesto set out not just some slogans, but some specific pledges. £13 billion of new investment, the Green Transformation Fund, including plans for Crossrail for the North, expanding our ports, particularly on the Tyne and on the Tees, a steel recycling plant in Redcar, and manufacturing facilities to support the Dogger Bank wind farms. 80,000 well-paid new green jobs. We heard about investment in manufacturing electric vehicles and the benefits of expanding the electrical vehicle charging network. That would protect the 18,000 workers directly employed in the automotive sector in the North East, while reducing emissions and improving air quality. Also important is the upgrading of housing. The national figure was quoted a little earlier in the debate, but there are 1.2 million households across the North East that could benefit, reducing bills and eliminating the vast majority of fuel poverty and making our homes healthier and more comfortable. I think it's important also that we look at the record of the last government, it's not just a feeling or an impression. It's certainly true that constituencies, former coalfield constituencies like mine, have been at the sharp end of austerity and have suffered disproportionately. And if we look at all the coalfield areas, I know some of them are now represented by Conservative MPs, if we group them all together across the country into one distinctive region, it would have a population of 5.7 million people. And it would be the poorest region in the United Kingdom. So when ministers talk about the Shared Prosperity Fund I think it needs to be targeted at regions and areas, former coalfield areas like mine in the North East. The IPPR North Research Department found that between 2009-10 and 2017-18, the North East had seen a £3.6 billion cut in public spending, while the South East and South West together actually saw in real terms a £4.7 billion rise. And indeed my local authority, Durham County Council, had a 40% budget cut, or almost £250 million cut from its budget at a time when there are increasing demands on services. So, I think we've also got to hold the government to account for its industrial policy, or its lack of it. The abolition of One North East, our regional development agency. The scrapping our Minister for the North, someone who would be an advocate and speak up for joined-up government and specific measures to assist in employment in my region. And they failed to support the industrial base, as a number of members have mentioned, particularly the steel industry on Teesside. So I would like to ask the Minister to consider the report by Sheffield Hallam University, the Centre for Regional Economic and Social Research. It contains some specific actions that I think you'll find are very well thought through and evidence-based. It documents the consequences of a legacy of failure, and it's a legacy of failure stretching over a number of decades. And it manifests itself in many ways. Health problems are more widespread in former coalfield areas. More than a third of residents who are aged over 16 report health problems lasting for more than 12 months. And while job numbers increase in upturns nationally in trends, they only do so at about half that rate in the main regional that we have in the main regional centres, and only a third of the rate that we see in London. So that widens the economic inequalities in coalfield areas like mine. The current focus on the city and on financial sectors of the economy disadvantages coalfield communities, which have a higher proportion of manufacturing jobs. So just in terms of the scale of the intervention that's needed, we heard the Secretary of State mentioning some figures. To raise employment to the national average, we require 80,000 additional residents in work in the North East. And to raise it to the level of the South East, the figure for our region would be an additional 170,000. Part-time work accounts for a third of all of our employment. There's a skills shortage. That's not helped by education cuts. We have fewer degree-level qualifications. The young and better qualified have little option but to move out of coalfield communities to meet their employment aspirations. And indeed, welfare reform has hit us particularly hard, with £2.4 billion being taken out of our communities, money that would otherwise have been spent in the local economy. I want to conclude, Mr Deputy Speaker, with some specifics. I've obviously got a vested interest in promoting the green industrial revolution. The North East is the home of UK manufacturing. We have the most productive car plant in the world, producing electric vehicles the world wants to buy. I know of constituents driving polluting diesel vehicles who would love to switch to electric if they were able to afford to do so. In my constituency, we have the commercial space, office and factory units to accommodate the green businesses of the future. And at the end of this month, Biffa will be opening a new £27.5 million plastic recycling plant in my constituency. I also have Drillcore, a specialist in renewable technologies, heat pumps and geothermal systems, and indeed our East Durham College have established a technical academy delivering courses and training in engineering and manufacturing, covering renewable technologies of the future. So I'd like to give the Minister an opportunity and to ask for his help to unleash the immense potential that is underlying in our former Coalfield communities and in constituencies like that.
Thank you.